Jiho pushed his cleaning cart down the empty corridor of Orbital Station, Vermilion 9. His shift started at midnight, when most of the station slept. He liked it that way. No one bothered him. No one looked down at him. He was just a janitor doing his job. The station was huge. It floated in space between 3 star systems. Aliens from dozens of different worlds came here to talk, make deals, and keep peace in the galaxy. Jiho had seen them all during his 3 years working here. Tall ones, short ones, ones with scales, ones with fur, ones that looked like living rocks. But none of them really saw him. To them, he was just another human. And humans were new to space. Weak. Not important. Jiho didn't mind most days. The pay was decent. The work was simple. He cleaned floors, emptied trash, fixed things that broke. Tonight was like any other night. He mopped the floors in Sector 6, then moved to Sector 7 Delta. That's when something strange happened. His access card buzzed when he reached the end of the corridor. A door stood there. He had walked past it 1,000 times. It was always sealed, always locked. Even his supervisor Mira told him to ignore it. That door hasn't opened in centuries, she had said. Don't waste time thinking about it. But tonight, the panel beside the door glowed green. Jiho stopped his cart and stared. His card was still in his pocket. He hadn't even touched the scanner. The door recognized him somehow. He should have walked away. He knew that. But Jiho had studied old alien ruins back on Earth before he failed out of university, before he became a janitor to pay his debts. Curiosity was always his weakness. He pulled out his access card and held it near the scanner. The panel beeped. The door slid open with a soft hiss. A long corridor stretched ahead. Dim lights flickered on as he stepped forward. The walls were different here. Not the plain metal of the station. These walls had patterns carved into them, symbols that glowed faintly gold. Jiho's heart beat faster. These weren't just decorations. This was writing. Ancient writing. He walked slowly down the corridor. His footsteps echoed. The air felt different. Colder, older. Like this place had been sealed away from time itself. At the end of the corridor, another door waited. This one was beautiful. It stood 3 meters tall, covered in more glowing symbols. Jiho reached out and touched it. The symbols pulsed brighter. The door recognized something in him. Something in his DNA, maybe. He didn't understand it. But the door opened. Inside was a chamber. It was round, with walls made of crystal that sparkled in the dim light. And in the center, floating in midair, was a woman. She wore armor. Not the kind soldiers wore now. This armor was ancient, decorated with scales that looked like dragon skin. Her eyes were closed. She floated inside a golden field of energy. Stasis. Jiho had read about this. A way to freeze someone in time. He stepped closer. The moment his foot crossed the threshold, everything changed. The golden energy field flickered. Alarms began to beep. The woman's eyes snapped open. They were gold. Pure gold, like metal heated in fire. She fell. The energy field vanished, and she dropped to the floor. But she didn't fall like someone weak. She landed on her feet, fast and graceful like a cat. Her hand went to her side, reaching for a weapon that wasn't there. Then she looked at Jiho. "Who are you?" she demanded. Her voice was strong, commanding, the voice of someone used to being obeyed. Jiho raised his hands. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to wake you. I'm just a janitor. I was cleaning, and the door opened. And She moved faster than his eyes could follow. 1 second she was across the room. The next, her hand was around his throat, lifting him off the ground. "What species are you?" she asked. Her golden eyes studied his face. "You're not Krillian. Not Vextar. Not any of the servant races I know. Jiho couldn't breathe. He tried to speak but only managed a choking sound. The woman tilted her head. Then she released him. Jiho fell to his knees, gasping. "You really don't know who I am," she said. It wasn't a question. She sounded surprised. "What year is it?" 2847. Jiho gasped, rubbing his throat. The woman went very still. "Repeat that." "It's the year 2847. By the Galactic Standard Calendar." "No." The woman backed away. "No. That's not possible. I was sealed in 2000 GSC. That would mean..." She looked at her hands. They were shaking. 847 years? Jiho stood up slowly. "I'm sorry. I don't know who you are, or why you were in there. But yes, if you were sealed in the year 2000, then you've been asleep for a very long time." The woman's legs gave out. She sat down hard on the floor. For a moment, she just stared at nothing. When she spoke again, her voice was quiet. "Broken. Everyone I knew is dead. My empire is gone. My people." She looked up at Jiho. "What happened to the Dragonborn?" Dragonborn? Jiho had heard that word before. In his university classes, in old forbidden texts. They're extinct. They died out during the Great Purge. That was hundreds of years before I was born. Extinct. She whispered. Then louder. Extinct. They didn't just defeat us. They erased us. Jiho didn't know what to say. He had accidentally freed someone from an ancient prison. Someone whose entire world was gone. "What's your name?" he asked quietly. She looked at him with those strange golden eyes. "I am Yuna. Last of the Southern Peak bloodline. Empress of the Velaric Empire." She laughed, but it was a bitter sound. "Empress of dust and ghosts. I'm Jiho," he said. "I'm human. We're new to the galaxy. Only joined the Galactic Council 50 years ago." "Human," Yuna repeated. She stood up, steadier now. "I've never heard of your species. What are you doing here?" "I work here. I clean the station." "A cleaner?" Yuna's expression was hard to read. "A cleaner opened my prison. Not a warrior. Not a scholar. A cleaner." Before Jiho could respond, alarms started blaring throughout the station. Red lights flashed in the corridor behind them. "Warning," a mechanical voice announced. "Unauthorized access to Forbidden Sector. Security protocol activated. Dragonborn signature detected. Initiating extinction protocols." Jiho's blood went cold. Yuna's eyes widened. "They built my prison with a trap. If anyone freed me, it would trigger systems to kill me." She looked at Jiho. "Your station is trying to finish what my enemies started." The sound of mechanical whirring filled the corridor. Jiho looked back and saw them. Security drones. Dozens of them, floating down the hallway. Their weapons charged with blue light. "Get behind me," Yuna said. She raised her hands, and golden energy crackled around her fingers. The same energy from the stasis field. "I don't know you, human. But you freed me. The old codes say I must protect my liberator. So stay close, and try not to die." The drones opened fire. Yuna screamed and threw her hands forward. The energy erupted from her palms, creating a shield of golden light. The weapon's fire bounced off, hitting the walls and ceiling. "Run!" Yuna shouted. Jiho grabbed her arm and pulled her toward a small panel in the wall. "Maintenance shaft. This way." He yanked the panel open. Inside was a narrow tunnel barely big enough to crawl through. Jiho went in first. Yuna followed, her ancient armor scraping against the metal walls. Behind them, the drones fired into the shaft. Energy blasts lit up the darkness. Jiho crawled faster than he ever had in his life. He knew these shafts. He had cleaned them hundreds of times. He knew every turn, every junction. It was his one advantage. "Where are we going?" Yuna called behind him. "Somewhere safe," Jiho said. "I hope." He had no idea what he was doing. He was just a janitor. And he had just freed the last member of an extinct species that the galaxy had tried very hard to kill. His quiet life was over. The maintenance shaft was dark and cramped. Jiho's knees hurt from crawling on the metal floor. Behind him, he could hear Yuna breathing hard. Her armor made scraping sounds every time she moved. "How much further?" she asked. "Just a little more," Jiho said. He reached a junction and turned left. "There's a recycling bay up ahead. We can hide there for a bit." They crawled in silence for another minute. Then, Jiho pushed open a panel and climbed out into the recycling bay. It was a large room filled with machines that processed waste from the station. The air smelled bad, but at least it was warm. Yuna climbed out after him. She stood up and looked around. "This is where you want to hide? In a garbage room?" "The drones won't look here right away," Jiho said. "They'll search the main corridors first. It gives us time to think." Yuna walked to the center of the room and sat down on a metal crate. She closed her eyes and took a deep breath. Jiho noticed her hands were still shaking. "Are you okay?" he asked. "I'm weak," Yuna said. 800 years in stasis. My body needs time to recover. If I had my full strength, those drones would be scrap metal." She opened her eyes and looked at him. "Tell me about this Galactic Council. Who runs the galaxy now?" Jiho sat down on another crate across from her. "The council is made up of representatives from different species. The Krillians, the Vextar, the Horath, and about 30 other races. They make laws and keep peace between the different worlds. And humans? You said your species is new." Yeah. We only got faster than light travel about 60 years ago. The council let us join 50 years back, but we're still considered junior members. We don't get much say in big decisions." Yuna's expression darkened. "They let you join. How generous. They let my people die." Jiho didn't know what to say to that. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a protein bar. It was supposed to be his lunch break snack. He held it out to her. "Here, you should eat something." Yuna stared at the bar like it was a strange alien object. "What is this?" "Food. It doesn't taste great, but it'll give you energy." She took it carefully. "Why are you giving me your food?" "Because you need it more than I do." Yuna unwrapped the bar and took a small bite. She chewed slowly, then made a face. "You're right. It doesn't taste great." But she kept eating. Jiho took off his jacket. The recycling bay was warm, but he noticed Yuna shivering. He walked over and put the jacket around her shoulders. Yuna looked up at him, confused. "What are you doing?" "You're cold. The jacket will help." "I am the last empress of the Dragonborn Empire," Yuna said. "I've killed warriors with my bare hands. I don't need a cleaner's jacket." "Okay," Jiho said simply. He started to take the jacket back. Yuna pulled it tighter around herself. "I didn't say I didn't want it." For the first time since he freed her, Jiho saw something other than anger or sadness in her eyes. He saw confusion, like she didn't understand why he was being kind. "In my time," Yuna said quietly, "other species feared us, or they tried to use us. The Dragonborn could do things others couldn't. We could control energy, manipulate the forces that power faster than light travel. Other species wanted that power. They waged wars to try to take it from us. And when they couldn't take it, they decided to destroy us instead." "I'm sorry," Jiho said. "Why?" "You didn't do it. You weren't even born." Kumpan 21. Unride. Kumpan 21. Unpan 21. Kumpan 21. Kumpan 21. Kumpan 21. "I know. But it still isn't fair." 12. "Ah." Yuna studied him for a long moment. "You're a strange creature. Jiho the human." A noise from outside the bay made them both freeze. Footsteps, heavy ones, and voices. Spread out, a clicking voice said. The human janitor is helping the Dragonborn. They couldn't have gone far. Jiho recognized that voice. Vex, the station's security chief. He was a Krillian, an insectoid species with 4 arms and compound eyes. Yuna stood up silently. The golden energy started to gather around her hands again. But Jiho could see she was struggling. The energy flickered and dimmed. She was too weak. Can you fight? Jiho whispered. Not well. Not yet. Then we need to run again. Jiho looked around the recycling bay. There were 3 exits. The main door where Vex and his team would come through. A waste chute that led to the incinerator. And a small access hatch that led to the water recycling system. This way, Jiho whispered. He led Yuna to the access hatch and pulled it open. We're going into the water system? Yuna asked. Unless you want to try the incinerator. They climbed through just as the main door opened. Jiho heard Vex's voice behind them. Search every corner. The Dragonborn must die. Those are my orders. The water recycling tunnels were wet and slippery. Jiho and Yuna had to walk bent over because the ceiling was so low. Water dripped from pipes above them. The sound of machinery echoed all around. Where does this lead? Yuna asked. To the main water processing plant. From there, we can get to the lower docking bays. And then what? I don't know yet. I'm making this up as I go. Despite everything, Yuna laughed. It was a short, sharp sound. The great liberation of the last Dragonborn, led by a cleaner who admits he has no plan. I freed you by accident, Jiho reminded her. I'm doing my best here. They walked in silence for a few minutes. Then Jiho heard a new sound. A mechanical whirring, different from the water pumps. He stopped. What's wrong? Yuna asked. Those aren't regular security drones, Jiho said. Those sounds. I've only heard them once before, during a station safety drill. What are they? Hunter drones. Old ones. From before the peace treaties. They're specifically designed to... He looked at Yuna. To hunt Dragonborn. To hunt Dragonborn. Yuna's expression went cold. They kept those? After all, these centuries? They must have been in storage. Vex must have activated them. The whirring got louder. Closer. Red scanning lights appeared in the tunnel behind them. Run, Jiho shouted. They ran through the tunnel as fast as they could. The hunter drones were faster. Jiho could hear them getting closer. Energy weapons charged up with a high-pitched whine. Yuna turned and threw her hands back. Golden energy burst from her palms and hit the first drone. It exploded in a shower of sparks. But 2 more took its place. Keep moving, Yuna shouted. I'll slow them down. No. Jiho grabbed her arm. You're too weak. Fighting will just drain you more. Trust me. He pulled her around a corner. Up ahead, he saw what he was looking for. A vertical shaft with a ladder leading up. Climb, he said. They scrambled up the ladder. The drones reached the bottom and started climbing too. Their metal claws clanked against the rungs. Jiho and Yuna reached the top. They were in a different section of the station now. The corridor here was nicer. Cleaner. This was where the diplomats lived. And standing in the corridor, holding a plasma pistol, was Mira. Supervisor? Jiho said, shocked. Mira looked at him, then at Yuna, then at the access hatch where drone sounds were getting louder. Get away from the hatch. Both of you. Now. They stepped back. Mira walked to the hatch and pulled something from her belt. A grenade. She dropped it down the shaft and slammed the hatch closed. A muffled explosion came from below. The drone sound stopped. Mira turned to face them. Jiho, what have you done? No. I opened a door. I found her. I didn't know what she was. V. She's a Dragonborn. The last one. Mira looked at Yuna. And you've just made yourself the most wanted person on this station. You're going to turn us in? Jiho asked. I should, Mira said. Do you know what kind of chaos this is causing? The entire station is on lockdown. Vex has authorized lethal force. If the council finds out, a Dragonborn is alive. She trailed off. Owen. Then help us, Jiho said. Please. I know we're just janitors, but we're not just janitors, Mira interrupted. Well, you are. But I'm not. Jiho blinked. What? Mira sighed. I'm an intelligence officer. From Earth's diplomatic corps. I was assigned here to monitor station politics. Being a janitor supervisor was my cover. You're a spy? Was a spy. My cover's blown now. Mira gestured for them to follow her. Come on. I have a plan. But we need to move fast. They followed Mira through the corridors. She moved confidently, like she knew every camera blind spot and security patrol route. Which, Jiho realized, she probably did. Where are we going? Docking Bay 12. There's a maintenance shuttle there. I've already programmed it with escape coordinates. You can use it to get off the station. You're helping us escape? Jiho said. I'm helping you survive, Mira corrected. What Vex is doing isn't right. If the council finds out, they'll execute her just to cover up their own history. Everyone deserves a chance to live, even the last of an extinct species. They reached a service elevator. Mira pressed the button for the docking level. As the elevator descended, she handed Jiho a small data chip, coordinates to a place called Sanctuary. It's outside council space. You'll be safe there. Maybe find some answers too. Ref. The elevator opened. Docking Bay 12 was just ahead, and standing between them and the shuttle was Vex, with a squad of armed guards and 3 hunter drones hovering at his shoulders. Vex's compound eyes gleamed in the docking bay lights. His 4 arms moved slowly, 2 holding weapons, 2 hanging ready at his sides. Behind him, his guards raised their plasma rifles. The hunter drones floated higher, their red scanning beams sweeping across Jiho, Yuna, and Mira. I knew you were trouble, Mira, Vex clicked. His voice came from a translator device on his chest. Earth's intelligence services are getting sloppy, sending spies disguised as janitor supervisors. Let them go, Vex, Mira said. Her hand moved to her plasma pistol. I can't do that. The Dragonborn is a threat to galactic peace. She must be eliminated. Yuna stepped forward. The golden energy began to gather around her again, but Jiho could see it was weak, flickering. I am no threat. I'm the only one left. My empire is dust. I just want to live. Your species could manipulate dark energy, Vex said. That technology is too dangerous. The council sealed you away for a reason. The council murdered my people, Yuna said coldly, and stole our technology. Don't talk to me about reasons. Vex's guards tensed. The hunter drones moved closer. Last chance, Vex said. Surrender peacefully. The human janitor can go free. He didn't know what he was doing. But the Dragonborn dies. Today, Jiho's mind raced. They couldn't fight. Yuna was too weak. Mira was outnumbered. And he was just a janitor with no weapons and no combat training. But he knew this station. He'd cleaned every corner of it for 3 years, including this docking bay. He looked up at the ceiling, at the radiation shield generators that protected the docked ships from cosmic rays, at the power conduits running along the walls, at the maintenance panels he'd opened 100 times to clean behind them. Yuna, Jiho whispered, can you create a distraction? Just for 5 seconds? What are you planning? Trust me. Yuna glanced at him. Then she smiled. A fierce, dangerous smile. The human cleaner has a plan. Very well. She raised both hands and screamed. Golden energy exploded from her body in all directions. It wasn't an attack. It was just light and sound. Bright enough to blind. Loud enough to deafen. Vex and his guards stumbled back. The hunter drone's sensors went crazy, spinning in circles trying to recalibrate. Jiho ran, not toward the shuttle, toward the wall. He yanked open a maintenance panel and reached inside. His hands found what he was looking for. The emergency override switch for the radiation shields. He pulled it. Warning sirens blared. Radiation shield failure in docking bay 12, the station's computer announced. All personnel evacuate immediately. The docking bay doors began to open, exposing the bay to the vacuum of space. Vex and his guards ran for the exit. They had no choice. Without the shields, they'd be exposed to deadly cosmic radiation. But Jiho had also triggered the emergency containment protocol. Small personal shields activated on all the ships in the bay, including the maintenance shuttle. Anyone inside a ship would be safe. "Run for the shuttle," Jiho shouted. Mira understood immediately. She ran. Yuna followed, the golden energy around her fading as she used the last of her strength to keep moving. The hunter drones didn't care about radiation. They came after them, weapons charging. Mira turned and fired her plasma pistol. She hit one drone. It exploded, but the other two kept coming. Yuna stumbled. She fell to her knees. "Go," she gasped. "I'm too slow." "No." Jiho grabbed her arm and pulled her up. "I didn't free you just to watch you die." A plasma bolt shot past his head, so close he felt the heat. The hunter drones were right behind them. Mira reached the shuttle and yanked the door open. "Get in!" Jiho half-carried Yuna to the shuttle. They fell through the door together. Mira jumped in after them and slammed the door closed, just as a plasma bolt hit where she'd been standing. "Mira!" Jiho shouted. "Are you?" He stopped. Mira was on the floor. A plasma burn marked her shoulder. She'd been hit. "I'm fine," Mira said through gritted teeth. "Just get us out of here." Jiho ran to the pilot's seat. He'd never flown anything before. He stared at the controls. There were so many buttons and screens. "The autopilot," Mira called from the back. Jiho pressed it. The shuttle's engines roared to life. The ship lifted off the docking platform. Outside the window, Jiho saw Vex and his guards running back into the bay. The emergency shields were reactivating. Vex raised his weapon and fired. The blast hit the shuttle's side. Alarms screamed. "Hull damage," the computer said. "Shields at 60%. Go," Yuna shouted. "Get us out of here." The autopilot took over. The shuttle shot forward, through the docking bay doors, and out into space. More shots followed them, but they were moving too fast now. Jiho watched through the window as orbital station Vermilion 9 got smaller and smaller behind them. His home for 3 years. The only job he'd been able to keep. Gone. He turned to check on Mira. She was lying against the wall, her hand pressed to her shoulder. The burn looked bad. "There's a medical kit under the back seat," Mira said weakly. "Get it." Jiho found the kit and brought it to her. He'd had basic first aid training. He cleaned the burn and applied healing gel. Mira winced but didn't complain. "Thank you," she said when he was done. "You saved us," Jiho said. "I should be thanking you. You saved yourself. That trick with the radiation shields was smart. Where did you learn that?" "I didn't learn it. I just knew the station. I cleaned those panels every week," Mira smiled. A janitor's knowledge saves the day. Earth's intelligence corps should recruit more cleaners. Yuna had collapsed in one of the passenger seats. She wasn't unconscious, but she looked exhausted. Her golden eyes were dim. "How are you feeling?" Jiho asked her. "Weak. Useless." She closed her eyes. "In my prime, I could have destroyed those drones with a thought. I could have torn that station apart. Now, I can barely stand. You saved us with that energy burst." Jiho said. You gave me time to reach the controls. A distraction. That's all I'm good for now. Jiho sat down next to her. You've been asleep for 800 years. Your body needs time to recover. Give it a few days. You'll get stronger. And if I don't, then we'll figure it out together. Yuna opened her eyes and looked at him. Why are you doing this? You don't know me. I'm nothing to you. You're not nothing. You're a person who deserves to live, just like everyone else. I'm the last of my species. The galaxy wanted us dead. They succeeded. Not completely. You're still here. Yuna was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, You're very strange, Jiho. In my time, species didn't help each other like this. Not without wanting something in return. I don't want anything. Except maybe to not die in space. That made Yuna laugh. A real laugh this time. Not bitter or sad. A reasonable goal. Mira called from the back. Jiho, check the navigation computer. The autopilot should be taking us to Sanctuary. It's about 3 days away. 4. Jiho went to the pilot's seat and checked. 3 days in a tiny shuttle with a wounded intelligence officer and the last member of an extinct species. What's Sanctuary like? He asked. It's a free port, Mira said. No council control. Smugglers, refugees, pirates, anyone who doesn't want to live under council law. It's not pretty, but it's safe. And there's someone there who can help you. A human named Daehyun. He's a tech dealer. Show him this. She handed Jiho a small metal coin with a symbol on it. Tell him, I sent you. You're not coming with us? Mira shook her head. I need to get back to Earth. Report what happened. The council is going to try to cover this up. Someone needs to make sure the truth gets out. How will you get back? We only have one shuttle. Sanctuary has ships. I'll catch a ride. Mira winced and touched her shoulder. But first, I need to rest. This burn hurts more than I thought it would. Sleep, Jiho said. Mira closed her eyes. Within minutes, she was asleep. Jiho sat in the pilot's seat and stared out at the stars. Space was beautiful. Endless. Terrifying. He'd spent 3 years on a space station, but he'd always known there was a floor beneath his feet. Now there was just void in every direction. Scared? Yuna's voice came from behind him. A little, Jiho admitted. I've never been on a ship before. Not really. Just shuttles going from Earth to the station and back. Yuna walked over and sat in the co-pilot's seat. She looked out at the stars too. I used to love space travel. My empire spanned 12 star systems. I visited all of them. Each one was different. Different colors, different atmospheres, different forms of life. It must have been amazing. It was. And now it's all gone. She was quiet for a moment. Then she said, Jiho, why did you open that door? The one that led to my chamber. You could have walked past it. I was curious. I used to study ancient alien sites before I became a janitor. Old ruins, forgotten technology. When I saw those symbols on the door, I couldn't help myself. Curiosity freed me. How fitting. Yuna smiled sadly. In the old stories, it was always a mighty warrior who freed the imprisoned princess. Not a curious cleaner. I'm not a warrior. I'm just someone who was in the right place at the right time, or the wrong place at the wrong time, depending on how you look at it. Maybe. But I'm glad I opened that door. Yuna looked at him. Even though it's turned your life upside down? Even though you're now a fugitive from the council? Amonbrain them? Amonbrain them the rounded? Amonbrain the council? Amonbrain the council? Amonbrain the council? Even though, Jiho said. Everyone deserves freedom. Even empresses from extinct species. Yuna reached out and put her hand on his shoulder. It was the first kind touch she'd given him. In my culture, when someone frees another from imprisonment, a bond is formed. The freed person owes their liberator a debt, a life debt. You don't owe me anything. Yes, I do. And I always pay my debts. Her golden eyes met his. I will protect you, Jiho. For as long as I live. You have my word. Thank you. But maybe right now, we should focus on just surviving the next 3 days. Yuna nodded. A good plan. Wake me if anything happens. She went back to her seat and closed her eyes. Soon, she was asleep too. Jiho was alone with the stars. He thought about his life. About how he'd failed out of university. About how he'd spent 3 years pushing a cleaning cart and mopping floors. About how he'd always felt like he was meant for something more but never knew what. Maybe this was it. Maybe this was what he was meant to do. Free an empress from an ancient prison. Run from killer drones. Fly through space toward an unknown planet. It was terrifying. It was impossible. But it was also the most alive he'd ever felt. 3 days in space changed Jiho. The first day, he barely slept. He kept checking the controls, afraid something would go wrong. The autopilot handled everything. But he couldn't relax. Every strange sound made him jump. Every alarm, even the normal ones, made his heart race. By the second day, he was exhausted. Mira forced him to sleep while she took over watching the controls. Her shoulder was healing thanks to the medical gel, but she still moved carefully. Yuna spent most of the time sleeping. Her body needed rest to recover from the centuries in stasis, but sometimes she would wake up screaming, calling out names in a language Jiho didn't understand, names of people long dead. On the third day, Yuna woke up calmer. She sat with Jiho in the cockpit while Mira rested in the back. Tell me about your species, Yuna said. About humans. I want to understand who freed me. Jiho told her about Earth. About the blue oceans and green forests. About the cities that reached toward the sky. About humanity's long history of war and peace, discovery and destruction. We almost destroyed ourselves, Jiho said. Nuclear weapons, climate change, artificial intelligence gone wrong. We came very close to extinction. But we survived. And when we finally reached for the stars, we promised ourselves we'd be better, more peaceful. And are you? Yuna asked. I don't know. We try. But we're still learning. At least you have time to learn. My people never got that chance. Yuna told him about her life, about being born in the southern peaks, a mountain range on her home world, about studying the stars and dreaming of exploration, about how her family was killed in a political coup and how she became empress at age 25. I ruled for only 12 years, she said. 12 years before the other species turned on us. They called it the Great Purge. But it was genocide. Pure and simple. They hunted us world by world. My advisors said I should run, hide, preserve myself for a better time. So they put me in stasis and sealed me away. I thought I'd sleep for a few decades, wake up when it was safe. She laughed bitterly. I never imagined it would be centuries. That everyone I knew would be dust. Jiho didn't know what to say. What could he say? Her pain was too big for words. I'm sorry, was all he could offer. Stop apologizing for things you didn't do, Yuna said. But her voice was gentle, not angry. The navigation computer beeped. Approaching destination, the autopilot announced. They all gathered in the cockpit to look. Through the window, a planet appeared. It was brown and gray, with swirling clouds of dust. Not beautiful like Earth, but Jiho could see lights on the surface. Cities, settlements, life. Sanctuary, Mira said. We made it. The autopilot guided them down through the atmosphere. They landed at a small spaceport on the edge of a sprawling settlement. The buildings were mismatched, built from salvaged ships and scrap metal. Nothing matched. Nothing looked official. It was chaos, made into a city. They stepped off the shuttle. The air smelled like engine fuel and dust. Aliens of every species moved through the streets. Jiho saw Krillians, Vextar, species he didn't recognize, and even a few humans. This way, Mira said. She led them through the crowded streets. No one paid them much attention. On Sanctuary, everyone minded their own business. They reached a building with a sign that read, Daehyun's Tech Shop, in multiple languages. Mira knocked on the door. A camera above the door swiveled to look at them. We're closed, a voice said through a speaker. Mira sent us, Jiho said, holding up the coin she'd given him. There was a pause. Then the door clicked open. Inside, the shop was filled with technology. Computers, weapons, ship parts, devices Jiho couldn't identify. And behind a counter stood a man. He was human, maybe in his 50s, with gray hair and cybernetic implants along his arms and neck. Daehyun? Jiho asked. The man nodded. Then his eyes found Yuna. He stared at her armor, at her golden eyes. By all the stars, Daehyun whispered. You're a Dragonborn. A real one. You know what I am? I collect forbidden history. I know a lot of things the council doesn't want people to know. Daehyun walked closer, studying her like she was a priceless artifact. I never thought I'd see one in real life. I thought your species was extinct. I'm the last one, Yuna said. As far as I know. Maybe not. Daehyun said. He gestured for them to follow him to the back of the shop. Mira, you look hurt. What happened? Tram, council security, Mira said. We had to fight our way off. Vermilion 9. The council knows about her? Daehyun looked worried. They tried to kill her, Jiho said. We barely escaped. Daehyun led them into a back room. It was part workshop, part living space, part museum. The walls were covered with displays of ancient artifacts and historical documents. Sit, Daehyun said. I'll get the medical kit for Mira. Then, we need to talk. He treated Mira's shoulder with better equipment than the shuttle's basic kit. While he worked, Jiho looked at the displays on the walls. He saw weapons from extinct civilizations, maps of forgotten empires, and documents written in languages he didn't recognize. You really do collect forbidden history, Jiho said. Someone has to, Daehyun replied. The council wants everyone to forget the past, forget the wars, the genocides, the mistakes. They think it's better for peace. But I think the truth matters. He finished with Mira and turned to Yuna. Yuna's eyes widened. What do you mean? 10. Daehyun walked to one of his displays and pulled out a data tablet. I've been collecting information for years. Reports, rumors, old maps. I think there are other stasis chambers like yours, hidden across the galaxy. He showed them the tablet. It displayed a star map with several locations marked. These are all places where I've found evidence of sealed chambers. I don't know if they still work. I don't know if anyone inside is still alive. But they might be. Might. Yuna stood up and looked at the map. Her hands were shaking. Other Dragonborn? Still alive? Maybe. I can't be sure. But if you want to find out, I can help you. Why would you help me? Yuna asked. You're human. My species and yours never met. You owe me nothing. I help because it's right, Daehyun said simply. The council committed genocide against your people. If there's a chance to save even a few more Dragonborn, I want to take it. Yuna looked at Jiho. You humans are strange, so willing to help others. Not all of us, Mira said. But enough of us, I hope. Jiho studied the map. How many chambers are there? I've found evidence of 12, Daehyun said. But there could be more. The Dragonborn Empire spanned many worlds. They could have hidden chambers anywhere. But then we need to find them, Yuna said. Her voice was stronger now. For the first time since Jiho freed her, she had purpose. Hope. We need to free my people. It won't be easy, Daehyun warned. These locations are scattered across the galaxy. Some are in council space. Some are in war zones. Some are on dead worlds that are too dangerous to visit. I don't care, Yuna said. If there's even one more Dragonborn alive, I have to try to save them. Jiho felt something stir in his chest. This was bigger than running away. Bigger than just surviving. This was about bringing an entire species back from extinction. I'll help you, he said. Whatever you need. Yuna looked at him with those golden eyes. You've already done so much. You freed me. Saved me. You don't have to do more. We freed for me to die. Yuna looked at him with those golden eyes. Yuna looked at him with those golden eyes. I want to. You said we have a bond now. A life debt. Well, I say we're partners. Equals. And partners help each other. Yuna smiled. A real smile. Partners. I like that word. Mira stood up. I need to leave tomorrow. Catch a ship back to Earth. But before I go, I'll help you get supplies. Daehyun, can you provide a ship? I can do better than that, Daehyun said. I have a ship that used to belong to a Dragonborn explorer. I've been restoring it for years. It has technology the Council doesn't know exists, including stealth systems and dark energy engines. Dark energy engines? Yuna said. Those were my people's invention. How did you get one? Salvaged it from a crashed ship. Spent 10 years figuring out how it works. Daehyun grinned. I think it's only right that it goes back to a Dragonborn. Over the next few hours, they made plans. Daehyun showed them the ship. It was smaller than a military vessel, but larger than the shuttle. It had weapons, shields, and living quarters for 4 people. Jiho didn't understand half the technology, but Yuna did. She walked through the ship with tears in her eyes, touching controls and whispering in her old language. This is a Skyfire-class explorer, she said. I saw one like this when I was young. They were beautiful ships. It's yours now. Daehyun said. Use it well. That night, they rested in Daehyun's shop. Jiho couldn't sleep. Too much had happened. Too much was about to happen. He went out to the main shop and found Yuna there, looking at the star map. Can't sleep either? He asked. Too many thoughts, Yuna said. What if the other chambers are empty? What if everyone else is dead? What if they're not? What if we find them? Yuna smiled. Someone has to be. They stood together in silence, looking at the map. 12 locations. 12 chances to find more Dragonborn. Jiho, Yuna said quietly. In my culture, there's a tradition. When 2 people begin a great journey together, they exchange vows. Promises about what they'll do for each other. What kind of promises? I'll show you. Yuna turned to face him. She placed her hand over her heart. I, Yuna of the Southern Peaks, last Empress of the Velaric Empire, vow to protect you on this journey, to fight for you, to never abandon you. My life is bound to yours until our quest is complete. Jiho felt the weight of her words. This was important. Sacred. He placed his hand over his own heart. I, Jiho, human of Earth, vow to help you find your people, to stand by you, to never give up, no matter how hard it gets. My life is bound to yours until our quest is complete. Yuna reached out and took his hand. Her skin was warm. Then it's done. We are bonded. Partners in truth. Partners, Jiho agreed. The next morning, Mira left. She hugged Jiho goodbye. You're braver than you know, she told him. Take care of yourself. You too. Get that shoulder fully healed. Mira boarded a transport ship heading to Council space. Jiho watched it lift off and disappear into the sky. Then he turned to Yuna and Daehyun. Ready? Ready. Yuna said. Ready. They boarded the Skyfire-class explorer. Jiho took the co-pilot's seat. Yuna took the pilot's seat. The ship came to life under her hands, responding to her like it remembered what it was built for. First destination? Daehyun asked from the doorway. He wasn't coming with them, but he'd helped stock the ship with everything they needed. Yuna checked the star map. Kalmora. It's a dead world in the void sector. But according to your research, there's a chamber there. If we're going to do this, we might as well start with one of the closer locations. Good luck, Daehyun said. And if you find more Dragonborn, bring them back here. Sanctuary will welcome them. The ship lifted off. Jiho watched Sanctuary get smaller below them. Then, they were in space again, heading toward the unknown. But this time, Jiho wasn't afraid. He had a purpose, a partner, a quest. He was going to help bring an extinct species back to life, and nothing was going to stop them. The journey to Kalmora took 5 days. The ship's dark energy engines were faster than anything Jiho had ever experienced. Space itself seemed to bend around them as they traveled. Yuna explained, it was how her people had built their empire, crossing vast distances in days instead of months. During the journey, Yuna taught Jiho about Dragonborn culture, their language, their history, their technology. In return, Jiho told her about the modern galaxy, about the species that now controlled the council, about the politics and alliances that kept peace between the stars. They also trained together. Yuna was getting stronger. The stasis weakness was fading. She could create larger energy fields now, hold them longer. She showed Jiho how Dragonborn warriors fought, even though he had no powers of his own. You need to know how to survive, she said. If we find other Dragonborn chambers, there will be guards, traps, dangers. Jiho learned to move quietly, to spot security systems, to find weak points in alien technology. His xenoarchaeology training came back to him. He understood old systems, ancient patterns. It was useful in ways he'd never imagined. On the 5th day, they reached Kalmora. It was a dead world, just as Daehyun had said. The surface was gray and lifeless. No atmosphere, no water, nothing but rocks and ancient ruins. There, Yuna said, pointing at the scanner. Underground. I'm detecting energy signatures. Very faint, but they're there. They landed the ship in the shadow of a collapsed building. Jiho put on an environment suit. Yuna didn't need one. Her armor had built-in life support systems. They walked across the dead surface toward the ruins. The gravity was lighter than Earth's. Each step sent Jiho floating slightly before he came back down. This was once a Dragonborn archive, Yuna said softly, a place of learning. Scholars from across the Empire came here to study. What happened to it? The Purge. They bombarded the planet from orbit, killed everyone, destroyed everything. Her voice was hard. They were very thorough. They found an entrance to the underground levels. The door was sealed, but Yuna placed her hand on it. Golden energy flowed from her palm into the door's ancient systems. It recognized her DNA and opened. Inside, the ruins were dark. Jiho turned on his suit's lights. They walked through corridors, filled with dust and debris. Some rooms had collapsed completely. Others were eerily preserved, as if everyone had simply vanished. The energy signatures are coming from below, Yuna said. Deep below. They found stairs and descended. Down and down, into the planet's crust. The air grew colder. Jiho's suit struggled to maintain temperature. Finally, they reached a large chamber. And there, lined up against the walls, were stasis pods. 7 of them, each containing a Dragonborn in ancient armor. Yuna ran to the first pod and checked its systems. Her face fell. Dead. The pod failed centuries ago. She moved to the next one. Dead. And the next. Dead. Dead. Jiho felt his hope crumbling. They'd come all this way, and everyone was dead. But Yuna stopped at the 7th pod. Her hands moved quickly over the controls. This one This one is still active. After. Are they alive? Jiho asked. Yes. Weak. But alive. Yuna began the awakening sequence. Stand back. I don't know how they'll react. Unrenus. Yuna began the awakening. I don't know how they'll react. The golden stasis field faded. Inside the pod was a man. Tall, with dark hair and armor covered in battle scars. His eyes opened. They were gold like Yuna's. He saw her and his eyes went wide. Empress? His voice was rough from disuse. Empress Yuna? Taejin. Yuna said. Tears ran down her face. You're alive. You're actually alive. The man, Taejin, stepped out of the pod. He swayed, weak from stasis. Jiho moved to help him. But Taejin was already kneeling before Yuna. My Empress. I failed you. I was supposed to protect you. And they sealed me away. You didn't fail anyone, Yuna said. She helped him stand. We were all betrayed. But you're alive. That's what matters. Taejin looked around the chamber. At the dead pods. At the ruins. How long? 847 years. Taejin's legs gave out. He sat down hard. Everyone we knew. Gone. Not everyone, Yuna said. She gestured to Jiho. This is Jiho. He's human. He freed me from my stasis. And he's helping me find other survivors. Taejin looked at Jiho. At his environment suit. At his very ordinary, unenhanced human body. A human? Freed you? I don't know that species. They're new to the galaxy, Yuna explained. And they're good people. Jiho is my partner. My bonded liberator. You'll treat him with respect. Taejin nodded slowly. If you say so, Empress. They helped Taejin back to the ship. He was weak. Like Yuna had been when she first woke. But unlike Yuna, he was a warrior at full strength. Even weak. Jiho could see the power in him. We found one, Jiho said, as they lifted off from Kalmora. That's something. 1 out of 7, Yuna said. But you're right, it's a start. They were 3 days from Kalmora when the ship's alarms went off. Someone's following us, Yuna said, checking the scanners. Jiho looked at the display. A ship was matching their course. It was smaller than theirs, but faster. And it was gaining. Council? Jiho asked. No. This ship has technology that doesn't match Council designs. Yuna's hands moved over the controls. It's trying to hail us. Should we answer? We don't have much choice. If they're hostile, they'll catch us anyway. Yuna opened the communication channel. A face appeared on the screen. Human. Female. Young. Maybe in her late 20s. She had short black hair and cybernetic implants along her jaw. Attention Dragonborn vessel, the woman said. My name is Hiri. I'm with the Apex. We've been sent to bring you in. Jiho's blood went cold. Mira had warned them about the Apex. Elite assassins who never failed. We're not going anywhere with you, Yuna said. I don't think you understand, Hiri said. The Council considers you a threat to galactic peace. They've authorized me to use any means necessary to stop you. Surrender peacefully, and I promise you won't be harmed. You're lying, Yuna said. The Council wants me dead. That's true, Hiri admitted. But I'm offering you a chance to die peacefully. It's better than what will happen if you make me hunt you. In the background, Jiho heard Taejin growl. Let me fight them, Empress. I'm still weak, but I can take one assassin. No, Yuna said. If she's Apex, she's been enhanced. Even at full strength, it would be a hard fight. Jiho stared at Hiri's face on the screen. At her implants. At her cold, professional expression. But there was something in her eyes. Uncertainty, maybe. Or doubt. Hiri, Jiho said. You're human, like me. Do you really want to kill the last members of an extinct species? Just because the Council ordered it? My feelings don't matter, Hayuri said. I have my orders. But, do you agree with them? Jiho pushed. Have you seen the records? The truth about the purge? About what the council did to the Dragonborn? Hayuri hesitated. Just for a second. But Jiho saw it. Turn around, Hayuri said. Don't make this harder than it has to be. Yuna cut the communication. She's going to attack. Strap in. Jiho and Taejin buckled into their seats. Yuna's hands flew over the controls. The ship accelerated, pushing them back into their seats. Hayuri's ship followed. It was faster. It began firing energy weapons. The shots hit their shields, making the ship shake. Shields at 80%, Yuna reported. I can't outrun her. The engines are still warming up from the long jump. Then we fight, Taejin said. He tried to stand, but Yuna pushed him back down. You're too weak. One energy burst, and you'll pass out. I can operate the weapons, Jiho said. Show me how. Yuna transferred the weapons controls to his station. Jiho stared at the interface. It was all in Dragonborn script, but Yuna had been teaching him. He could read enough. He aimed and fired. The shot went wide, missing Hayuri's ship completely. I'm not very good at this, Jiho said. Keep trying, Yuna said. Just buy me time. I need to fully power the dark energy engines. Jiho fired again. This time, he clipped Hayuri's ship. Her shields flared, but held. Hayuri returned fire. Multiple shots, all perfectly aimed. Their shields dropped to 60%, 40%, 20%. Yuna! Jiho shouted. I know. Just a few more seconds. Taejin unbuckled and stumbled to the back of the ship. Jiho didn't know what Taejin was planning, but he kept firing. His shots were getting better. He hit Hayuri's ship twice more. Her shields were weakening too. Hayuri changed tactics. She accelerated, trying to get alongside them. Jiho realized what she was planning. She was going to board their ship. She's going to board us, Jiho warned. Not if I can help it, Yuna said. Her hands moved in a complex pattern. The dark energy engines roared to life. Space twisted around them, but Hayuri was too close. When they jumped, her ship got caught in the edge of the energy field. She jumped. With them. They came out of the jump in empty space. No stars nearby, just void. Boarding clamps engaged, the computer announced. Hayuri had locked her ship to theirs. Get ready, Yuna said. She's coming in. The airlock hissed. Jiho grabbed a plasma pistol from the emergency locker. His hands were shaking. He'd never shot anyone before. The inner airlock door opened. Hayuri stood there, wearing combat armor and holding weapons in both hands. Her cybernetic implants glowed blue. Taejin appeared behind her. He'd gone through the cargo airlock and circled around. He grabbed Hayuri from behind, his hands glowing with golden energy. Hayuri spun and kicked him. Taejin flew backwards and hit the wall. He was too weak. The move had drained him. Hayuri pointed her weapon at Yuna. Last chance. Surrender or die. Jiho stepped between them. His pistol pointed at Hayuri. No. 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 Move, human, Hayuri said. I don't want to kill you. Then don't kill anyone, Jiho said. Just listen. Please. Hayuri's finger tightened on the trigger. But she didn't fire. I accessed the old records, Jiho said quickly. The ones about the purge. I know you can access them too. You're Apex. You have clearance. Look at them. See what the council did. See the truth. I've seen them, Hayuri said quietly. I know what happened. And you still want to kill them? I have my orders. Orders aren't the same as right, Jiho said. You know that. I can see it in your eyes. You don't want to do this. Hayuri's weapon wavered. What I want doesn't matter. The council says the Dragonborn are too dangerous to live. The council is wrong, Yuna said from behind Jiho. We're not dangerous. We just want to exist. To find our people and live in peace. Is that worth killing for? Righted. We have a life down. Hyrie stood there, weapon raised, for a long moment. Then, she lowered it. I must be insane, she muttered. She holstered her weapons. I'm letting you go. But the council will send others. More Apex. Next time, you might not be so lucky. Why are you doing this? Yuna asked. Because he's right, Hyrie gestured at Jiho. Orders aren't the same as right, and I'm tired of killing people who don't deserve it. She started backing toward the airlock. Get out of here. Go far away. And don't let the council find you again. She sealed her armor and returned to her ship. The boarding clamps released. Hyrie's ship pulled away and jumped to hyperspace. Jiho let out a breath he didn't know he'd been holding. That was too close. You talked her down, Yuna said, amazed. You talked down an apex assassin. I just appealed to her humanity, Jiho said. Hoped it would work. Taejin picked himself up from where Hyrie had kicked him. The human has a silver tongue. Maybe that's your power, Jiho. Words instead of energy. They set course back to Sanctuary. Jiho sent a message to Daehyun, telling him they'd found one survivor and that they needed to regroup before continuing the search. During the journey back, something strange happened. The galaxy started talking about them. Jiho's original broadcast from Vermilion 9 had been spreading. More and more people were sharing it, discussing it. The story of a human janitor who freed the last Dragonborn was becoming famous. Some people called Yuna a hero, a symbol of resistance against council injustice. Some called her a threat, a monster who should stay buried. The galaxy was dividing. Representatives from younger species, including many humans, started demanding answers from the council. Why was the purge covered up? Why were Dragonborn hunted to extinction? What else was the council hiding? The council was forced to respond. They called an emergency session. Ambassadors from every member species gathered to debate what should be done about the Dragonborn. When they reached Sanctuary, Daehyun was waiting at the landing pad. You've caused quite a stir, he said. The whole galaxy is talking about you. Is that good or bad? Jiho asked. Both. The council can't just quietly kill you now. Too many people are watching. But that also means they have to respond. And I don't know what they'll do. Don't. Over the next few weeks, Jiho and Yuna continued their search. They found 3 more stasis chambers. 2 were empty, the occupants long dead. But one held another survivor, a female Dragonborn named Sora, who had been a scientist before the purge. 4 Dragonborn now, still so few. But it was a start. Then came the message from the council. An official communication requesting that Yuna come to the council chambers for negotiations. They promised safe passage. No tricks. No traps. It's obviously a trap, Taejin said. Maybe, Yuna said. But maybe not. The whole galaxy is watching now. They can't just kill me in front of everyone. I'll go with you, Jiho said. As your representative. Your bonded liberator. Jiho. You're a janitor. You don't know anything about politics. I know about fairness. And I know how to talk to people. That's what we need right now. Not warriors. Negotiators. Yuna considered this. Then she smiled. You know what? You're right. Let's show the council that the Dragonborn aren't monsters. Let's talk to them. They traveled to the council chambers, the great station where representatives from every species gathered. Security met them at the docking bay, but they kept their weapons holstered. Too many cameras were watching. The negotiation hall was enormous. Representatives from dozens of species sat in curved rows, all facing a central platform. Yuna and Jiho stood on that platform, with the eyes of the galaxy on them. The council leader, an elderly Horith with green scales, spoke first. Yuna, last of the Dragonborn. You stand accused of threatening galactic peace. How do you respond? I respond. Yuna said clearly. By asking what peace you mean. The peace that was built on the bones of my people? The peace that required genocide? If that's your peace, then yes, I threaten it. Because that kind of peace is a lie. Murmurs ran through the chamber. The purge was necessary. A Krillian representative said, Your species was too powerful. Too dangerous. Dangerous how? Jiho spoke up. The Dragonborn wanted to share their technology. They wanted cooperation. The Council wanted control. So they took what they wanted and killed everyone who knew the truth. That's a serious accusation, the Council leader said. It's the truth, Yuna said, and we have proof. She held up a data chip. Records from the old empire. Communications showing that the Council offered us peace, then attacked us when our guard was down. This is what really happened. The chamber exploded into debate. Some representatives demanded to see the evidence. Others insisted it was fake. The humans were among the loudest, demanding transparency and justice. For 3 days, they negotiated. Yuna presented her evidence. The Council tried to deny it, but the proof was overwhelming. Public opinion turned against the Council. Protests erupted on dozens of worlds. Finally, the Council had no choice. They agreed to the Sanctuary Accords. The Dragonborn would be recognized as a sovereign species. Any remaining stasis chambers would be opened under neutral supervision. The Council would issue a formal apology for the purge. In exchange, Yuna agreed to share Dragonborn technology freely with all species. No secrets, no exclusive deals, just cooperation. It wasn't perfect. It didn't bring back the billions who had died. But it was justice. Of a sort. 1 year later, Jiho stood on a balcony overlooking the new Dragonborn settlement on Sanctuary. 17 Dragonborn had been found and freed. 17 survivors from billions. It was heartbreaking, but it was also hopeful. Yuna joined him on the balcony. Thank you, she said. For everything. I didn't do that much, Jiho said. You did more than that. You gave me hope. You gave my people a future. They stood in comfortable silence, watching the stars. There's a transmission, Yuna said. From the edge of known space. Rumors of more stasis chambers. Possibly hundreds. Jiho smiled. Then I guess our work isn't done. Will you come with me? To find them? Of course. We're partners, remember? Yuna laughed. How could I forget? The Empress and the Janitor. Quite a team. The best team, Jiho said. And together, they walked back inside to plan their next journey. To find more of the lost. To bring more people home. To continue writing the story of how an extinct species rose from the ashes, all because a janitor opened a door he wasn't supposed to open. Sometimes, Jiho thought, the smallest actions lead to the biggest changes. Sometimes, the most ordinary people do the most extraordinary things. And sometimes, hope survives, even after 800 years of darkness. The Dragonborn were rising again, and Jiho would be there to see it.